Welcome, everyone, to today's broadcast. I am absolutely thrilled to have you joining me because today, we're not just reporting on the standard daily events, the typical political shifts, or the routine economic updates. Today, we are focusing our lens on a story that has unexpectedly, yet profoundly, captivated millions across the globe within a matter of hours. We are talking about a viral explosion that is dominating social media feeds, trending across every major platform, and sparking conversations in households, schools, and training camps worldwide. The internet is currently ablaze with a viral video featuring none other than Alexandra Eala, the phenomenal Filipino tennis prodigy, who has just delivered a powerful, unscripted, and deeply moving message aimed directly at children and young dreamers everywhere. When we usually talk about Alexandra Eala, the narrative is almost always anchored in her historic achievements on the tennis court. We talk about her blistering forehand, her tactical brilliance, her Grand Slam junior titles, and her meteoric rise through the professional ranks as a beacon of hope for Southeast Asian athletics. We discuss the global brand frenzy she has caused and the unprecedented crowds she draws at international tournaments. But this viral video, this incredible moment that has captured the zeitgeist of the internet today, has absolutely nothing to do with her swing, her serve, or her tournament statistics. Instead, it is a masterclass in empathy, wisdom, and the raw reality of chasing a dream. It is a moment where the athlete steps back, and the mentor, the older sister figure, the grounded human being steps forward to address the extreme pressures facing today's youth. In an era where our children are constantly bombarded by the toxic perfectionism of social media, where youth sports have become hyper-competitive arenas that often prioritize winning over well-being, and where the anxiety of expectations is weighing heavier than ever on the shoulders of the next generation, Alexandra Eala decided to cut through the noise. The video, which has amassed staggering viewership numbers and generated an avalanche of emotional responses from parents, educators, and young athletes alike, shows Eala speaking with profound vulnerability about what it actually takes to succeed, and more importantly, how to survive the journey without losing yourself. She is not selling a product.
She is not promoting a brand.
She is offering a lifeline of perspective to kids who are desperate for authentic guidance. This is the ultimate hook of this story. We are witnessing a cultural shift where our sports icons are realizing the immense power of their platform to shape the mental and emotional resilience of the youth. The significance of this video goes far beyond a fleeting viral trend. It represents a critical intervention in the way we talk to children about ambition, failure, hard work, and self-worth. Eala, who has been in the international spotlight since she was a young girl at the Rafa Nadal Academy, knows intimately the crushing weight of global expectations. For her to turn around and impart the survival tactics she has learned to the millions of kids looking up to her is nothing short of revolutionary. Throughout this extensive broadcast, we are going to unpack every single layer of this viral phenomenon. Why is this specific message resonating so intensely right now? What are the underlying psychological pressures that make Eala's advice so desperately needed in today's hyper-connected society? How does her perspective challenge the conventional, often damaging, narratives surrounding youth sports and early specialization? And what does this mean for the legacy she is building, not just as a tennis champion, but as a global youth ambassador? We will explore the stark contrast between the glamorous illusion of overnight success that the internet feeds to children and the gritty, unglamorous reality of true dedication that Eala advocates. We will delve into the cultural impact of her words, specifically for children from developing nations who look to her as living proof that the world stage is not reserved only for a privileged few.
This is not just a sports story.
This is a human development story. This is a deep psychological exploration of what we are demanding of our youth and how a young woman who is navigating the absolute pinnacle of high-stakes competition is reaching out to offer a steady hand to those coming up behind her. So, settle in, because this is a profound narrative that every parent, every coach, and anyone who cares about the future generation needs to hear. Let us dive deep into the Alexandra Eala viral video and the extraordinary advice she has just given to the world.
Let us transition now into the core of our deep dive analysis, examining the exact nature of the advice Alexandra Eala has shared in this viral phenomenon, and unpacking the monumental implications it holds for youth development, sports psychology, and the broader cultural landscape of ambition. To truly understand the gravity of her message, we must first contextualize the messenger. Alexandra Eala is not a retired veteran looking back on a completed career from the comfort of hindsight. She is in the absolute thick of it. She is in the trenches of professional tennis circuit, actively battling the grueling demands of the sport, the relentless travel, the physical exhaustion, and the intense, suffocating pressure of being a national icon. When someone in that position pauses to speak to children, the message carries a unique, raw authenticity that cannot be manufactured. The first major pillar of her advice addresses a dangerous myth of overnight success, a toxic illusion heavily perpetuated by the digital age. Children today scroll through platforms that show them a highlight reel of triumphs, trophies, and celebrations, completely detached from the years of obscurity and failure that preceded them. Eala's message shatters this illusion with refreshing candor. She speaks directly to the lonely hours. She tells the kids about the early mornings, the blister hands, the repetitive drills, and the sheer monotony of mastery. By doing so, she validates the struggles of every child who is currently frustrated, who feels like they are putting the work but not seeing immediate results. She teaches them the vital concept of delayed gratification, an increasingly rare virtue in a world of instant downloads and on-demand entertainment. Eala reminds them that a strong foundation is built in the dark, away from the applause, and that patience is not just a virtue, but a fundamental requirement for any lasting achievement. Furthermore, we must analyze how her advice tackles the epidemic of performance anxiety among the youth. In modern youth sports, and indeed in academic pursuits, the pressure to be perfect is crippling. Kids are terrified of making mistakes because mistakes are immediately visible, often ridiculed, and treated as fatal flaws rather than necessary learning steps. Eala's viral video directly confronts this fear of failure. She opens up about her own losses on the global stage. Can you imagine the power of that? A world-renowned champion telling a 10-year-old that it is perfectly acceptable and in fact necessary to lose. She frames failure not as an endpoint, but as data. It is feedback. She advises kids to give themselves grace, to understand that a bad game, a bad test score, or a bad day does not diminish their inherent worth as human beings. This psychological reframing is critical. It shifts the child's identity away from being solely performance-based to being effort-based. When a child learns to separate their self-esteem from the scoreboard, they develop true resilience. Eala is effectively acting as a sports psychologist for millions of kids, giving them the mental armor required to withstand the inevitable setbacks of life. Another profound layer of her message is the absolute necessity of maintaining joy and passion. It is a tragic reality that many young athletes, musicians, and prodigies burn out before they even reach adulthood. The systemic push for early specialization, the relentless year-round training schedules, and immense parental and societal expectations often extinguish the very spark that made the child love the activity in the first place. Eala, speaking from the heart, implores kids to never lose sight of why they started playing. She warns against letting the pressure turn their passion into a chore. She advises them to protect their joy fiercely, to make sure they are still having fun on the court, on the field, or wherever their talents lie. This is a revolutionary statement in the highly commercialized, heavily structured world of elite youth development. She is reminding the system, through the children, that without intrinsic motivation and genuine love for the craft, long-term success is impossible and ultimately hollow. We also cannot ignore the incredible cultural and representational impact of her words. Alexandra Eala is a proud Filipina, representing a developing nation on the historically elite and Western-dominated stages of professional tennis. When she speaks, she is not just speaking to kids in country clubs. She is speaking to children in rural areas, to kids playing in the streets with makeshift equipment, to young dreamers in every corner of the globe who have been implicitly told that their origins limit their destinations. Her advice is laced with the unshakable belief that talent and hard work are the great equalizers. She tells them that their dreams are valid, no matter where they come from, no matter what their financial background looks like, and no matter how many people tell them it is impossible. She stands before them as a living, breathing manifestation of that truth. This level of representation is transformative. It rewrites the internal narratives of millions of children, expanding the horizons of what they believe they can achieve. Moreover, let us analyze the ripple effect this viral video is having on the adults in the room. While Eala's words are addressed to children, the secondary audience, the parents, the coaches, the teachers, are the ones who desperately needed this wake-up call. The comment sections across social media are flooded with parents admitting they've been pushing too hard, coaches realizing they need to change their motivational tactics, and adults expressing profound gratitude for perspective shift. Eala's advice subtly indicts the toxic environments adults often create for children under the guise of helping them succeed. By telling kids to focus on their mental health, to speak up when they're overwhelmed, and to ensure they're surrounded by supportive, loving people, she is simultaneously instructing the adults on what their primary responsibilities should be. She is reminding parents that their job is to provide a safe harbor, not another arena of judgment. The sheer scale of this video's reach also highlights the shifting dynamics of influence in the modern era. We no longer rely solely on traditional institutions to impart moral and philosophical guidance to the youth. Athletes, equipped with direct audience platforms, have become primary educators of character. Alexandra Eala has utilized this power with an incredible sense of responsibility. She could have easily posted a sponsorship ad or a training montage that would have garnered millions of views. Instead, she chose to offer a piece of her soul to the next generation. This decision cements her status not just as a sporting icon, but as a generational leader. She understands that her legacy will ultimately be defined not just by the trophy she lifts, but by the lives she lifts up along the way. As we continue to dissect this phenomenon, we must recognize the intersection of sports and mental health that Eala is navigating. For a long time, the culture of sports demanded stoicism. To show vulnerability was to show weakness. By openly discussing the mental toll of competition and advising kids to prioritize their psychological well-being above their athletic performance, Eala is contributing to a vital paradigm shift. She is part of a new generation of athletes who refuse to suffer in silence and who are determined to make the path easier for those who follow. Her advice acts as a preventative measure, giving kids a vocabulary to articulate their struggles and the permission to seek help when the pressure mounts. In a world where youth anxiety and depression rates are skyrocketing, this guidance from a globally respected figure is not just inspiring, it is a critical intervention. Eala is effectively using her viral momentum to champion a holistic approach to youth development, one that values a human being far more than the athlete. As we draw this extensive, deep dive analysis to a close, let's take a moment to reflect on the enduring legacy of this single, spontaneous, and profoundly impactful viral moment. We have spent the better part of this broadcast unpacking the layers of Alexandra Eala's incredible message to the world's youth. We have examined how she dismantled the myth of overnight success, how she tackled the crippling fear of failure, how she championed the preservation of joy, and how she served as a beacon of cultural representation and mental health advocacy. But beyond the analytical breakdown, we must recognize the raw, human beauty of what has transpired on the internet over the past 24 hours. In an age where virality is so often associated with controversy, outrage, superficial trends, or the fleeting pursuit of attention, it is genuinely restorative to see a message of pure, unadulterated goodness capture the global consciousness. Alexandra Eala's advice to kids went viral not because it was loud or shocking, but because it was true. It resonated deeply because it struck a chord of universal human experience. Every single person watching that video, whether they are a 10-year-old aspiring athlete, a teenager struggling with academic pressure, or a parent trying to navigate the complexities of raising a child in the modern world, saw a reflection of their own struggles and aspirations in her words. What Alexandra Eala has achieved with this message is the highest calling of any public figure. She has taken the spotlight that her athletic brilliance earned her and redirected it to illuminate a path for others. The tennis matches will come and go. The rankings will fluctuate. Trophies will eventually gather dust in a cabinet. But the impact of a perfectly timed word of encouragement, spoken with genuine empathy from a hero to a child, can alter the trajectory of a life forever. Right now, there's a young girl picking up a racket with renewed joy because she watched that video. There's a young boy who decided to forgive himself for a mistake instead of agonizing over it, because Alex Eala told him it was okay. There are families having honest conversations at the dinner table tonight about pressure and mental health, sparked entirely by a Filipino tennis player deciding to speak her truth to a camera. This viral video serves as a powerful reminder to all of us regarding the weight of our words and the responsibility we hold toward the next generation. Eala has set a new gold standard for athlete engagement. She has shown that true greatness is not just about dominating an opponent on a court. It is about lifting up those who are watching from the sidelines. It is about utilizing your platform to inject empathy, resilience, and perspective into a world that often feels overwhelmingly demanding. To the parents, coaches, and mentors listening to this broadcast, I urge you to take Alexandra Eala's advice not just as a message for your children, but as a mandate for yourselves. Let us foster environments where effort is celebrated over outcomes, where failure is treated as an essential teacher rather than a character flaw, and where the mental and emotional well-being of the child is the absolute non-negotiable priority. Let us help them build that foundation in the dark. Let us protect their joy, and let us remind them constantly that their worth is intrinsic, not conditional on their performance. And to the young dreamers out there who might be listening or whose parents will share this narrative with them, take these words to heart. The road ahead of you will be difficult. It will demand sacrifice, patience, and a resilience you might not yet know you possess. But as Alexandra Eala has so beautifully reminded us today, you do not have to walk that road flawlessly. You just have to keep walking, keep learning, and keep believing in the profound power of your own potential. Do not let the pressure steal your passion. Do not let the digital illusions of perfection make you feel inadequate. Embrace the grind, embrace the journey, and most importantly, embrace yourselves. We will continue to monitor the incredible career of Alexandra Eala, both as a phenomenal force on the international tennis circuit and, as she has definitively proven today, as a profound and inspirational voice for the global youth. This has been a deeply moving story to cover, a testament to the positive power of digital connectivity when harnessed by a person of immense character. Thank you all for joining me on this comprehensive journey to one of the most important viral moments of a year. Stay inspired, stay resilient, and please take care of yourselves and each other. Good day.